Every minute a stroke goes untreated, the average brain loses about 1.9 million neurons. Not over a day, not over an hour, every single minute gone, while nothing outside your skull looks any different at all. You probably think you would know immediately if this were happening to you. The collapse, the pain, someone screaming for help. That is how it looks in the movies. So that is what you expect from your own body if it ever turned against you. That is not how this works for a huge number of people having one right now. Some people having a stroke this second have no idea anything is wrong, not because they are ignoring it, because the exact part of the brain that would normally tell them something is wrong is the part that just got switched off. You're about to understand exactly what that feels like from the inside. You wake up on a Tuesday morning in a small house outside Columbus, Ohio. The alarm goes off at 6:15, same as every weekday for the last 11 years. Your husband is already in the shower. You swing your legs out of bed, and the first thing you notice is that your left hand feels strange wrapped around the comforter, like it belongs to someone else's arm. You do not think much of it. You slept on it wrong. You flex your fingers a few times and head toward the kitchen. You pour coffee into your favorite mug, the one with the chipped handle you have meant to replace for 2 years, and your left hand simply lets it go. The mug hits the tile floor and shatters, coffee spreading in a dark stain across the grout lines. You stare at it for a moment. You feel oddly calm about it, which is strange because you loved that mug. This is the first sign, and you dismiss it completely. Everyone drops something occasionally. Your hand was asleep. You will clean it up in a second. You bend down to pick up the pieces, and something happens to the left side of your face that you cannot feel happening. The corner of your mouth is no longer where it used to be. You do not know this yet, because the muscles that would normally tell your brain your face has changed are being fed by the exact blood vessel that just closed. Your husband walks into the kitchen already dressed for work and stops in the doorway. He does not say good morning. He says your name twice, in a voice you have never heard him use before. You try to answer him. You know exactly what you want to say. You want to say, "I dropped the mug. I'm fine. Don't worry about it." What comes out of your mouth instead is a slurred, sliding collection of sounds that do not resemble those words at all. You hear yourself say it. You do not understand why it sounds wrong. As far as your brain can tell, you spoke perfectly clearly. This is called anosognosia, and it is one of the strangest and most dangerous features of certain strokes. When a stroke damages specific regions, usually on the right side of the brain, it can destroy not just your ability to control the left side of your body, but your ability to perceive that anything is wrong with it at all. Patients have been documented insisting their paralyzed arm belongs to someone else, insisting they can walk while lying flat in a hospital bed. One well-known case involved a patient who, when asked to clap, used only her working hand and calmly explained that clapping with one hand was simply her personal style. Your brain is not lying to you. It genuinely does not know. Your husband does not wait to figure out what is happening. He learned the acronym FAST at a company safety training 2 years ago and never once thought he would need it in his own kitchen at 6:20 in the morning. Face, is one side drooping? Arm, does one side drift down when raised? Speech, is it slurred or strange? Time, call 911 immediately if any of this is true. He does not remember the exact statistic from that training 2 years ago, only the feeling that it mattered more than almost anything else he had ever been taught at a job. He looks at your face. He asks you to raise both arms. Your left one drifts down toward the floor almost immediately, and you do not seem bothered by it at all. He calls 911 at 6:22 a.m. Here is what is happening inside your skull while he is on the phone giving your address to a dispatcher. A blood clot has lodged itself in a vessel supplying the right side of your brain. Blood, and the oxygen it carries, is no longer reaching a section of tissue about the size of a golf ball. The neurons at the very center of that area, the ones getting zero blood flow at all, are already dying. But surrounding that dead core is a much larger region doctors call the penumbra, brain tissue that is starving but not yet dead, tissue that is still salvageable if blood flow returns soon enough. Every minute the clot stays lodged where it is, roughly 1.9 million neurons in that penumbra cross the line from struggling to gone. Somewhere behind the calm of the 911 dispatcher's voice, a countdown has already started that nobody in your kitchen can see. The paramedics arrive 9 minutes after the call. The single detail, the 9 minutes, matters more than almost anything else that happens today, because a hospital 30 minutes away is worthless if the ambulance takes 45 minutes to reach it. Emergency medical systems across the country now radio ahead the moment they suspect a stroke so that a CT scanner and a neurology team are already prepped and waiting before the ambulance doors even open. You are in the CT scanner 19 minutes after arriving at the hospital. The scan confirms it. Ischemic stroke, right middle cerebral artery. Not a hemorrhage, which matters enormously honestly, because the treatment for a clot and the treatment for a bleed are almost opposites, and giving the wrong one can be catastrophic. You're given a clot-dissolving medication called TPA, tissue plasminogen activator, at 7:41 a.m. This medication has a narrow window to work, typically within 3 to 4.5 hours of when symptoms started, which is why the exact time your husband noticed you dropping that mug becomes one of the most important facts in the entire hospital chart. Miss that window and the medication itself becomes too dangerous to give, since dissolving a clot in tissue that has already died can cause bleeding instead of helping. You're lucky in a way that has nothing to do with luck. You're lucky because someone was standing in your kitchen who knew 4 letters and acted on them in under 2 minutes. Here's the story of someone who was not. Her name was Linda. She lived alone outside Tucson, Arizona, 61 years old, recently retired, no family nearby. She woke up one morning with almost the exact same first symptom you had, a strange heaviness in her left hand. She sat on the edge of her bed for a while, decided she was just tired, and went back to sleep. When she woke up 2 hours later, the left side of her body would not move at all, and by then the golden window when treatment could have reversed, the damage had already closed. She survived. She never regained full use of her left arm. She spent the following year relearning to walk with a cane, something that would not have been necessary if anyone had been in that house with her to notice what her own brain could not. Her neurologist later told her family that the scan showed a clot in nearly the same location as yours. The only meaningful difference between the two of you was not the severity of the clot, it was who happened to be standing nearby when it happened. This is the part that should reframe how you think about the word obvious. Stroke is the leading cause of long-term adult disability in the United States, and it is not because the disease itself is unusually cruel. It is because of exactly the gap you just watched play out twice. The gap between something being visibly wrong to the people around you and something being perceivable to the person it is actually happening to. A stroke does not announce itself the way a heart attack does, with unmistakable pain radiating down an arm. It can present as nothing more than a dropped coffee mug and a face that does not look quite right in a mirror you are not currently looking into. You spend 4 days in the hospital. Physical therapy begins on day 2. Your left hand comes back almost completely within the first month, something your doctor tells you plainly would not have happened if your husband had waited even 1 more hour before calling. You go home. Life mostly returns to normal. You keep a new mug now, a plain one, no chipped handle, sitting in the same spot on the counter as a small and slightly strange reminder. Here is what this story was actually about. Underneath the hospital timeline and the neuron counts and the acronym on the refrigerator magnet your husband bought afterward without telling you why. It was never about whether you would recognize a stroke happening to you. The entire terrifying point is that you might not. Your own brain, the only instrument you have for understanding what is happening inside your own body, can be the exact thing that fails first, which means the 4 letters, face, arm, speech, time, were never really written for the person having the stroke. They were written for whoever happens to be standing in the kitchen. If you learn nothing else from the next few minutes of your life, learn those 4 words and say them out loud to someone in your house tonight. Not because you expect to need them, because the entire tragedy of a stroke is that nobody expects to need them, right up until the moment someone drops a mug and does not understand why.